If you've been anywhere near a TV, a phone screen, or social media, you know about the tragedy that has happened between the airplane and the helicopter. And right now, we are at a time where everybody is trying to figure out what is going on as far as this crash is concerned. What we know, American Eagle Flight 5342 from Wichita, Kansas, carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members, collided midair with an Army helicopter near Reagan Washington National Airport last night. Trump confirmed today there are no survivors in the collision. The 2 aircraft crashed into the Potomac River, where a rescue operation has become a major recovery effort, with dozens of bodies pulled from the frigid waters so far. The U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter was carrying 3 people, Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser said. American figure skaters, coaches, and family members who had been at a camp in Wichita were among those aboard the passenger jet, according to U.S. figure skating. Russian state media confirmed that Russian figure skaters and coaches were also on board. So that is what's happened so far. Now is going to come the time where everybody tries to figure out how we got to this point or what happened. So this is what Trump said last night on his Truth Social. I have been fully briefed on the terrible accident which just took place at Reagan National Airport. May God bless their souls. Thank you for the incredible work being done by our first responders. I'm monitoring the situation and will provide more details as they arise. I was listening to some of the press conference today regarding this crash, and this headline from Gizmodo is the only real headline that really sums up what I saw from Trump today. This is the headline that makes the most sense. Trump blames DEI for plane crash that killed 67 in ridiculous press conference. What I saw today was ridiculous from this person, and we are so unfortunate that people voted this man to be the commander in chief. This article literally describes how I was feeling as I listened to him. Trump held a rambling, unhinged press conference Thursday about the mid-air collision between a commercial plane and a military helicopter in Washington, D.C. that killed 67 people. The entire press conference was a series of excuses about why the Trump administration wasn't to blame for the crash, and the president repeatedly said diversity in hiring of air traffic controllers was to blame. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out in the agency's website. Can you imagine? That is what he said about the people working for the FAA, that they have intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions. And this is before the actual investigation of what happened with this crash happened. This is what he said. It says, Trump said the Democratic presidents that preceded him were to blame for the crash because they instituted policies that hired people who were unqualified to be air traffic controllers. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened, Trump said, and we'll see. We're going to look into that and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest, somebody's that's psychologically superior, and that's what we're going to have. The helicopter and a plane Trump was referring to included an American Airlines flight carrying 64 people and a U.S. Army helicopter carrying 3 people. Trump said the helicopter should have been at a different height, while also blaming DEI for the crash. Reporters in the room repeatedly pushed Trump on his claims that DEI initiatives have somehow caused the crash, including Caitlin Collins from CNN. You're blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now? Collins asked. Trump deflected and said Collins was asking stupid questions. Another reporter in the room asked why Trump was blaming members of the military for the crash. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistakes. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash, the reporter asked. Because I have common sense, okay, Trump replied. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. Trump continued by rambling about computer systems he clearly knows nothing about. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high level computer work and very complex computers, Trump said. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system. And then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have, but they didn't build the systems properly. I was listening to this, y'all, and I'm like, what the hell is this word salad that he's saying? What is going on? This is the president. This is not somebody that's in a retirement home. This is the president of the United States saying all of this rambling madness. A large contingent from the clown car of the Trump regime was also at Thursday's press conference, including Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Something the president said that I think bears reemphasizing, which is that when you don't have the best standards in who you're hiring, it means on the one hand, you're not getting the best people in the government, but on the other hand, it puts stresses on the people who are already there, Vance said. He hired a reality TV star, y'all. Sean Duffy, the former reality TV star and recently confirmed Secretary for the Department of Transportation, also spoke forcefully while pretending he was an important voice of authority who knew what he was doing. Duffy has no background or expertise to be the transportation secretary, aside from perhaps being on a reality TV show called Road Rules, but was confirmed anyway, including by a large number of Democrats. Why did they say yes to this person? Who is Sean Duffy and why did they say yes? Anyways, he says, we will not accept excuses, Duffy said in the middle of a press conference. That was nothing but making excuses. We will not accept passing the buck, Duffy continued while passing the buck. We are going to take responsibility at the Department of Transportation and the FAA to make sure we have the reforms that have been dictated by President Trump in place to make sure these mistakes do not happen again, Duffy said, trying to give credence to Trump's absurd arguments about diversity being the cause of the crash. Exactly 1 week ago, on January 22nd, this is the memo that the White House put out. Fact sheet. President Donald J. Trump ends DEI madness and restores excellence and safety within the FAA. In this memo, he's saying that he's ending the Biden era of DEI in hiring and putting in merit-based hiring and not discriminating. That's what he said. So this is what the Democrats said last week after Trump put out his memo about the hiring freeze and firing all of those people. It says ranking members Larson Cohen's statement on Trump's dangerous freeze of air traffic control hiring. It says the bipartisan FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024 directs the administration to hire the maximum number of air traffic controllers. That's what the law says, so the administration must rescind this ridiculous executive order, Ranking Member Larson said. Hiring air traffic controllers is the number one safety issue according to the entire aviation industry. Instead of working to improve aviation safety and lower costs for hardworking American families, the administration is choosing to spread bogus DEI claims to justify this decision. I'm not surprised by the president's dangerous and divisive actions, but the administration must reverse course. Let's get back to aviation safety and allow the FAA to do its job protecting the flying public. Our top priority must be the safety of the flying public. So in order, freezing the hiring of air traffic controllers is a misguided decision and goes against the directives of our FAA reauthorization bill. The aviation community will speak with one voice in condemning this short-sighted policy and reaffirm our commitment to hiring the critical personnel necessary for ensuring public safety. During the press conference, Trump also tried to throw Pete Buttigieg under the bus. Let's keep in mind that this is Trump's administration right now, and leaders take accountability and try to see what's going on. But all Trump did in this press conference was blame Democrats. He blamed Biden. He blamed Obama. He also blamed Pete Buttigieg. All right, so this is what Pete Buttigieg had to say. It says, Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg responded to President Trump's allegations that Buttigieg mismanaged the Department of Transportation, calling the president's comments despicable. During a White House news briefing this morning, on the DC plane crash, Trump called Buttigieg a disaster, saying, "Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run the Department of Transportation?" Buttigieg called his remarks despicable, adding that as families grieve, Trump should be leading, not lying. "We put safety first, drove down close calls, grew air traffic control, and had zero commercial airline fatalities out of millions of flights on our watch," Buttigieg said in a post on President Trump now oversees the military and the FAA, he said, adding that it's time for the president to show actual leadership and explain what he will do to prevent this from happening again. So that's where we are. And I'm totally sure that he's going to continue to point fingers, say that it's diversity, not say that it's probably firing of the people that he fired or not hiring the people. He came in like a bull, signing all of these executive orders and firing people. What is he going to do going forward as far as the safety of Americans? This is going to be a tragedy that really shows what is coming for this country. Anyways, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And go ahead and follow if you're not yet following me.